I don't like calling losses failures. I feel like losses are like higher in the ranking. Like a failure to me is more like not having the guts to try and potentially have to take a loss. And like a loss is having the guts to get in the game, be willing to square up with adversity, and walk away with a lesson, even though you may not have won. So like it's part of the recipe for winning long term rather than like in the immediate. So having a pandemic pull the rug out from underneath you to the tune of, a 30 to 35 million valuation is a hard pill to swallow. Like with this virus slash like government induced recession situation being so out of that, being like so out of the ordinary, how do you as a person calibrate your mind to be able to gain a 30 to 35 million dollar lesson from it?
I think the lesson that you gain from it is in part surrounding yourself with really good people, where if you get caught up in the hype of like, I'm running a company that's XYZ size, or I'm like in a big city and I'm fancy, you'll surround yourself with the people that aren't going to be like good, genuine friends. And I think I was very, very lucky, from the girl I'm dating to my family to my friends, that like nothing changed of like, none of my boys like stopped being my boys, like my girlfriend's still with me. And I think that's a really big takeaway from it, is surrounding yourself with good people that value you. I think the second step of a big lesson to take away from it is you got to be really keyed in on enjoying the process, and you always want the best outcome. But if you are only addicted to the outcome, or you're only outcome dependent, then it feels like a big loss. And look, this is a big loss, or it is a big lesson, or however you want to phrase it. And I don't take that lightly. I don't take the investors lightly. And that is part of it. But I don't feel that our team did something operationally that was broken or incorrect. This was a long tail black swan event. And so going back to what we learned, or what I learned, is, you got to be doing things that you enjoy, because even you can do all the right things and, sometimes things won't work out. But realistically, I had like a great team of people. I had an incredible amount of enjoyment from building the company. I was myself, or investors, everyone was very proud of what we accomplished. And something like that's really outside of your control. And so I think that just being honest with yourself that sometimes things don't work out and not taking it lightly, but also realizing that's not something that, you made a mistake, or you were lazy, or you were dishonest. I mean, I think that's where I think people should, for anyone listening, if you have like a business that's that's going through a challenging time, you can't internalize that as you failing. I think that you just have to realize there are a lot of other people that are really great business people. And there are a lot of businesses that are like way bigger than mine that failed as well, like Neiman Marcus and Brooks Brothers, and like, almost any business that's highly engaged in retail across the board is taking a big loss. So whether you're running a small business that generates $50,000 a year, or you have a big business, anyone listening just should be very aware that it's not a personalized failure given the situation. This is an outlier. And when you look at that, then you realize the things that matter. Your friends, like that's a great friend. Your family, the people that are around you. At the end of the day, like those are the things that matter. They're irreplaceable. And businesses, knock on wood, you can rebuild, you can make more money, but you really can't replace like people, or family, or friends, or relationships. So that'd be my biggest takeaway.
I was actually hoping that you'd kind of angle it in that kind of a way. Obviously having a good group of people around you, but also like to not internalize, especially, there are people that have failed because they just didn't do what it take. They didn't pivot when they needed to, basically. But like, this isn't really that situation. Nobody could have seen that coming. You calling it a black swan situation was perfect. That's how, like, I don't know how else you could say it to make it any more accurate. But yeah, I think that's more than insightful. It's dead on. Yeah. So I love that answer.